So, guys, we are back with the Catch Us Live session. This session today, we are going to be it's called as the Rock of Ages with the boys. That is Subir Malik, Koco, Uday Benegal, and Gary Lawyer. It's been a long time since I've chatted with these guys. So I said, let's bring it on. So let's call on Subir Malik on screen. Hey, Subir, good to see you, my friend. How are you doing?
Man. All good, man. Heavy metal, AC/DC. Yeah.
AC/DC. I can see that, my friend. And in Bombay, it's raining heavily. I don't know about Delhi. Is it raining there?
No, man. It's been really hot here. Really, really hot here.
Oh, my God. Okay, let's see how Pune is doing. Let's get Koco in. And guys, let's get Koco in. We've got Koco here. Oh, my God. Look at that.
Hello. Bhaiya, fellow countrymen.
So good to see you, Koco. And how is Pune treating you? Yeah, is it hot? Is it humid? Is it dry?
It's
Raining?
very beautiful weather. It's breezy. I wish I was sitting on my terrace right now, but the internet is not too good there. Otherwise, I would have been sitting up there. And it's gorgeous weather. It's perfect for riding. And but we are under lockdown. 10 days of strict lockdown.
I know.
So,
guys, I'm getting in Uday Benegal. Let's welcome Uday Benegal. He's here with us. Hi, Uday. How are you doing?
Hi, Uday.
How are you, man? Good. How are you?
So, Uday, is it raining on your side of Bombay? Because in Chembur, my side is raining heavily. Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty heavy here as well in Bandra. Pretty heavy.
Bandra, right?
It's been going through the morning, all through the morning. And
we got one more Bandra boy. Should we get him along?
Who's the other guy?
Who's Salman Khan?
Salman Khan is he's a Bandra, not a boy. He's a Bandra kid. So
I know, yeah.
He's still running in his chetties. So guys, let's get Gary on. And
Gary's Carmichael Road, by the way, not Bandra. Right?
Carmichael Road, yes. He's in Carmichael Road, yes. Hey Gary, how are you doing? Can you hear us? Can you see us?
Hi, Gary.
How are you doing?
Hey, Harry. Hi.
Gary.
It's really raining really heavily. And I can hear you in staccato like it was earlier.
Oh, wow.
You know?
It's probably your internet connection.
So it's
anyway, you guys carry on.
So guys, good to see you all today at the Catch Us Live session, which is Rock of Ages with the great boys like y'all, Subir, Koco, Uday, and Gary. I know it's been a very, very long journey in rock and roll. And, the whole of India, the youth of India salutes you, because rock music in India is only because of people like y'all who have actually gone across, traversed through road, through train, through planes, by bikes, by cars, to different college festivals, to different cities, and actually rock the crowd over there. And that's where they got to hear rock music. Thanks to y'all. So a big salute from the youth of India to y'all, because what y'all have done, when I look at it after 30 years hence, it's like, wow, amazing. I learned the rock. I heard the music. Like I got Parikrama to perform in my college festival, Ramraudik Engineering College in Nerul, Navi Mumbai, where Subir did the 100th show and we threw 100 t-shirts numbered from 1 to 100. We got Agni in 1997. So 1996, Parikrama had come. Agni had come in 1997, where they performed, and Benny Matthews sound was used, the big, huge JBL black speakers. So, that's where my rock scene got into, and my events from electronic engineering into events. So you can imagine what a transition. So, I followed my passion, and you all did it by following your passion by actually bringing rock to India in a huge, big way. So salute once again to you all. So I have some, questions which a lot of fans have asked me. So I've collated those questions. So I thought, let me shoot one by one to you all. So starting with Gary, when did you actually start singing? And when did you start singing rock and roll? Which year? And what motivated you to do something like this? Over to you, Gary.
I don't think that Gary can hear you. I think he's having issues with this.
Are you trying to talk to me?
Yeah, Gary. So I'm asking you, when did you start singing to the public?
No, I can't really. I just get some funny sounds. That's all.
Okay,
I
Gary.
can't-
Gary, log
I
off
can't
and
hear
log,
you.
log off.
So as
Log
long
off.
as
Log,
if you
log off
can
and
hear
log in.
me, yeah, if you can hear me, you all carry on. I'll try and log back on. Is that, if that's the
Yeah,
term?
yeah. Log back on.
Yeah.
Log back on. Log back on. Log back on. Yeah.
So what do I do? I
Okay.
just
Just I'll log you off. Don't worry.
um,
I'll log you off. Okay. So guys, Gary will be join us. So Uday, talking to you because Rock Machine started in 1984, right? If I am not wrong. So how did
So,
your journey of music start off with rock and roll, and what actually motivated you?
well, my journey with rock and roll began long before I joined the band.
Okay.
Journey began when I was still in school. My brother, who's 6 years older than me,
Right.
uh, got into St. Xavier's College. Met
Okay.
a really cool bunch of guys, which became his circle of friends that I would
Okay.
admire and worship almost.
Right.
And started to bring home all these rock albums. The first was Quadrophenia by The Who, and then it was
Absolutely.
a flood after that.
Right.
It was the usual Led Zeppelin, Steely Dan, Deep Purple,
Right.
Santana, the works.
But who's your that one band which the one name who you used to idolize?
So The Who was my band. In all my rocker years, and when I say rocker years, I mean as a die-hard rock fan, and no other form of music was acceptable.
Right.
Except for me, well, I can't say no other form of music because I used to listen to a good amount of
Correct.
blues, and I
Right.
loved a lot of blues. I loved funk and soul and stuff like that as well.
Right.
But I was a distorted guitars guy, and The Who was my band, and more specifically, it was Pete Townsend.
Okay.
So
Wow.
that
Wow.
was my
That's
idol. He was my
amazing.
idol. He was my child. And then
Amazing.
after that, then took part in many singing competitions when I was in school. Lost them all. Went to HR college. Uh, I was strong armed into taking part in a singing competition to represent HR college at Marha, and sang a song that I had written myself, which was a very bad song. From what I remember, I can't remember it, but I remember it being a very bad song. And my brother very sweetly agreed to come up with some kind of a guitar line. He did comp, and I
Right.
sang at this singing competition.
Right.
And I jumped around. I had a T-shirt. I wrote "Michael Jackson sucks" because those were my days. Or Ronald Reagan. So it was Ronald Reagan sucks, and in the back Michael Jackson too. And I turned around, showed my, and I was jumping around. I forgot the words on stage, but nobody knew because it was my song. Nobody knew I'd
Right.
forgotten the words. And I came
Right.
back, finished the song, went off in great depression. But I fucked it up yet again. And at some point, someone tells me in the Xavier's quadrangle, "Hey man, congrats!" And I said, "What for?" And they're looking for you. They're looking for you in the auditorium. You won
Right.
and all. I said, "Man, don't fuck with me. Now I'm having a bad enough day." "No, no, they're announcing you over there." So I go to the auditorium. And I see who are the three judges. Anybody who remembers any of the bands of the 80s, I mean, some of them are still around. But the three judges were Ranjit Barot, Dinsha Sanjana, and Nandu Bhende. So,
Oh, wow.
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 so the thing is, and that was my first lesson in rock and roll. Here's how it came to me. I only learned it. I only understood it a lot later.
Right.
But Ranjit was on stage at that point, and he was talking to the audience, and they were saying, "We're there," and I sort of showed up at that point. And what he was saying was that he didn't say anything about the quality of my singing or the quality of the song or anything.
Right.
I mean, clearly I didn't sound like crap, otherwise that wouldn't have made any. But the reason why, and it was my first big lesson, the reason why I was given a heads up over everybody else, or not a heads up,
Right.
top position, was because I was the only one who wrote his own song. I won for originality. Performance, of course, was part of it.
Right.
But I had the perfect guys in the judging pairs. Because Ranjit, Nandu, and Dinsha are three guys who understood what original music is all about.
Absolutely.
And that was the reason. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So I guess it made sense to write my own song. As shitty a
Right.
song as it was.
Wow.
And then that went on.
So basically, original music works, and that's what we have seen it, and that's what people want nowadays. You create your own music, compose your own music, have fantastic lyrics, have a beautiful score, and put it digitally on. That's the way forward right now as we go. Moving on to Koco.
Yeah.
How has your journey been here, Koco? Because it's been a real fantastic journey for you too, good and bad. I know that, but how has it been?
Yeah, after hearing after what Uday just said regarding that original thing, I
Right.
used to play with a band called Tall Fatins.
Right.
This was between the years 86 and 90, before I
Right.
joined Agni.
Right.
And we played at Mood Indigo, and we
Right.
won
I was
Moodai
there.
in the year 1990. And
I was in the
we
audience.
played, yeah, and we played three originals and three covers.
Ah,
And the other bands which were in the finalists, there was Surat Jagan's band. I don't remember what it's called. I keep forgetting the name
Crisis.
of the band.
Crisis.
Crisis. Yeah,
Mm.
Crisis was a good
those
band, man.
guys.
Yeah.
Typically speaking, I think those guys should have won that year because they were fantastic.
right.
But we won because we played three originals. So
Mm.
that journey started there, and then when I joined Agni, that's pretty much the same thing that I carried forward. It sort of got drilled into my head that
Right.
we need to write our own material, and a big uh, you know thumbs up to Indiscreet, because those guys at that time they were Rock Machine. These are the
Right.
guys who actually pioneered it for all of us. By the way,
Yeah.
I mean
Absolutely.
these guys were the gutsiest bunch of rockers I've ever met in my life. In
Correct.
those days, they had the guts to play an all original set in a place like Rang Bhavan. And
Right.
Mm.
man, that required guts because the audience was unforgiving at that time. All they wanted to hear was, Deep Purple and Metallica
Yes.
and whatever it was. They wanted to listen to covers. But
All the
these
covers.
guys defied everyone. They said, they showed them the middle finger and they played an all original set. And that sort of, these guys have pioneered it. So
Correct.
a big thumbs up to Uday Benigil. We all call him Benny. But man, you guys really started it off. So
Absolutely.
Thank you, man.
yeah.
In fact, our website, the first website we made in 1995, so we dedicated that website to Rock Machine, and still the version is available on our own site, and it says to the papas who started it all. In fact, our they came to my college in the late 80s, and I saw it and said, man, my band, I have to make it like that. There were two things. One was seeing Rock Machine, and the other thing that I'd seen was this album called El Subramaniam, called Conversations, 1984. It was released on
Right.
audio tape. And I fell in love with the violin, and I said, I have to have a violin player in my band. And when I saw Rock Machine in Kirodimal College, I said, oh man, I need to make a band like that. So there was the inspiration. In fact, the first song that we wrote, Xerox, in 1991, in Parikrama's first show, was totally inspired by Top of Rock.
Really?
Top of the Rock. Yeah. So I said it in many interviews, yeah. So they definitely, as Coco said, Rock Machine industry has got, for us people, the earlier rockers, it has a major part of
Right.
the way we defined ourselves, or we started writing music. Of course, it was also, for us, it was also Amit Sehgal sir later,
Right.
who fucked that trip badly. Oh, Family Channel to nahi hai na, bol sakte hai na.
Bindas.
Yeah.
I've already used the words. Don't worry.
Arey yaar, my laptop went for a 6, so I had to go and try it, and that's I'm back on the phone.
No problem.
So that's
See,
it. That's
with
it. Yeah,
Uday,
that's what.
Uday talking, it didn't get censored, so you can be bindas and talk. So don't worry.
So that's what the importance of Rock Machine is, I guess, in every band here.
Correct.
Started at the same time as
Thank
us. Arey, come on, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So Subir, also, I've just seen the notice that your kickoff of Parikrama happened in around what, 1991, right?
Yeah, anyone, yeah.
That was the year. And in fact, Uday, around 84 is where Rock Machine got formed, and then 93 was when Industry got formed, right?
That's right. Well, it got formed as in we sort of morphed into it. The same people, but the music changed, the identity changed.
Right.
Things, so we decided to move in a new direction.
Right.
Yes, Rock Machine was born in 84, but the lineup that became the Rock Machine lineup that stayed for the bulk of the years, which eventually became industry also,
Right.
actually happened in '85.
Okay.
85
Okay.
is when I played my first gig, January of '85 with Rock Machine, and then a few months later we got Subir in. Actually, they were looking for a keyboard player, and Subir and I had done something when we were in college.
Right.
And so I brought Subir in. And so that's the lineup that became the lineup. So 85 technically is when, or rather 84 technically is when we were born. 85 is when we actually were born as a band. As the band.
So y'all were traveling in '85 onwards. You were traveling for gigs basically.
These days, what travel, man? I mean, there are hardly any gigs. You sat on your ass for fucking months and months and months waiting for the phone to ring. That's crazy. For someone to write you a letter, those are bloody phone and letters, man.
Yes. Actually,
That's
you're
about
right.
it. Yeah. It took a long time to get gigs. I mean, whatever gig we got, we took.
Right.
And we did start to travel. The very first gig I played with Rock Machine in '85 was in Goa, the Farmagudi College of Engineering in Goa.
Yes.
Yeah,
So for me, that was a milestone day because, for one, I was on stage with the band, my first ever professional gig. And then I was hanging out with these guys. I was the youngest in the band at the time.
Right.
And so we stuck on for a few days. We went to the beach after that, trying to impress the big boys, drank too much wine, threw up, puked my guts out on the Colombo beach. All of that. First gig of it. Felt like a tooth after that, but still.
But you guys were never really the bad boys. You were always the good boys, all you industry guys.
Well, the thing is, it's not about good boy or bad boy. The truth of the matter is, as far as we were concerned, we were, and I use the word serious not in a serious way, we were committed to the idea of making this happen as often as we possibly can because we love to do it so much. So our energies and our efforts were all channeled in towards rehearsing our asses off so that we were always tight on stage and always trying to, and Mark Selvin really was the guy who was, he was the thinker of the band. And we sort of, he was the wise one. He had the foresight, he had the vision, he thought about the future, and we were on board with him. The idea to create original music with the band was also Mark's idea. I jumped on very quickly onto that idea because I had got my lesson thanks to Rajit and gang. But the point is, we were committed to the idea of always trying to take this and improve it and make it better and better. We take our own sound engineer. I think we were the first guys to travel with our own sound engineer.
Yeah.
To a lighting engineer. Yeah, so those are all the things that we kept. So we were focused on all of those things. We partied. We would party after the gig was over. Then you get smashed, you get trashed, whatever it is. But we also knew the kind of things that would basically create fault lines in the band and fuck things up for ourselves. One of those things was we said no hard drugs of any kind. If you're doing things, if there's any idea, not that any of us were into that at all, but if there was any shit like smack or heroin or whatever, out, gone. You want to smoke some cannabis after the gig's over? That's cool. Drink as much more after the gig's over? That's cool. But we had a strict. We didn't initially have a strict policy. Look at this one.
With ugly, it was exactly the opposite. Strict policy. Drink before you get on stage.
So let me tell you what. So guitar players, huh? Guitar players. The guitar players will have a couple of drinks before going on stage and forget they cock it all up.
No. Hello.
I'm talking about our guitar players.
Poor Mahesh.
Mahesh and Jayesh. Before you,
Wow.
So policy is also born out of experience, right? So policy was after that. It's like
Hari, the sound is intolerable.
Oh, Gary's having a bad time.
Gary, Gary, you're having a problem with the sound?
Gary, we can hear you here.
Yeah, but Gary's voice is so distinctive, no? When he speaks even a single word, it just cuts through the entire mix.
Absolutely.
All of us are speaking in this wah voice, and then Gary's, baritone voice.
He's got a huge baritone voice.
Seriously, man, what a voice, yeah, Gary.
In fact, when we were doing the sound check, told Gary, I said, wherever you're living, even if I don't have the internet, I can still hear you in Chembur sitting over here. Don't worry, Gary. We're making coffee.
But poor Gary is getting lost in all of this because he's just trying to figure out.
Yeah, I know. He's looking positively hassled right now.
1 minute. I think I'll just Gary, can you hear us? Can you see? Are you trying your iPad? Are you trying something?
No, I can't.
Okay, I'm logging. I'm again logging you off. Just log in again. It'll come
I can't. In fact, I'm just typing out a message to you.
Okay.
To tell you I can't hear. I even tried to change the location in the house. I don't want to disturb you guys, really.
Right.
I can't hear you. But if you can hear me, you all just carry on, you know.
Okay.
There's no point. Yeah.
Why do you ask Gary to use his phone instead of the laptop?
You can use your phone. Use the other phone if you want, Gary.
You guys carry on. Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, guys, moving forward, let's move forward. One of the biggest thing is that at that time when you all had your band names, whether it be Agni, whether it be Parikrama, Rock Machine, Indus Creed, did you all ever register the name and trademark it with the logo?
Yeah.
So we did. we did.
I was just coming to that. So who didn't do that?
We didn't either.
We did.
No.
The thing is, if you can't trademark a name, if it means something, if it's an actual word. So rock is a legit word, machine is a legit word, Indus, Creed.
Right.
You can't if you spell it you spell it incorrectly.
Right.
You spell it ROC,
Right.
MACHINE as one word, or something, some kind of MASHE, whatever. That detracts completely from any accepted spelling. Then you can trademark it as a logo.
Okay.
But otherwise, if it's a word that is defined within any language, you can't trademark the name.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
So we
could probably trademark AGNEE and not AGNI because that means fire. So is that what it's saying?
So wouldn't you know? But AG and double E would probably be also an accepted spelling form. I would think that you can't try to trademark any of them.
But I think it's more like an acronym. So you used AGNEE and it worked for you. So you were lucky.
Yeah. So but we registered
initially, and then the new one was AGNEE. So that
Yeah. That's what. Okay, Gary is back. Good. So what about you for Parikrama? Did you all have a problem with the name, Subir?
No. We in fact we never registered the logo. I mean. As such, but the name Parikrama, we got that registered under a lot of different things. In fact, I remember my lawyer that time way back then giving me there are different articles that you can add. So a lot of articles there were the same one that we used that were used by Beatles to register themselves.
Right.
So like from there to music schools to in fact. We kind of did semi cases on people who used our name to open music schools in Jaipur or something here and there. And I mean, just one notice and they had to shut it because we were legally registered as Parikrama. So not really. I don't know what's the difference between that and trademarking because we never did any logo or anything like that. But Parikrama as a band as such is registered.
That's what. So as long as the brand is registered, that's the main thing.
You can register.
Yeah, that's what I said. Register and trademark.
Yeah, are two different things. And also, once you register, if I understand correctly, you can only stop somebody from doing something if it's in a similar business. Because
yes.
If it was Parikrama Aeronautics, then you can't prevent them from either the company.
So again, Uday, if you use those different things like I forgot the exact name that the lawyer said, there were a lot of different related things you could do. Like for me, it was even making T-shirts and this and that, kacha banyan, whatever. मैं परिक्रमा के लाल रंग के कच्चे भी बेच सकता हूँ आज के डेट में. Koco, पहनेगा Koco बसा.
Triple XL one for me too. One more order.
मैं 4XL, मैं फ्यूचर का सोच के 4XL ही भेजूंगा तेरे को.
4XL.
No, but tell me one thing with with regards to starting off a band, was there any investment that your band guys put in together the money, saying that okay, let's get a new guitar, a drum kit, so how difficult was it during your time when you all started off? Because at that time naturally it was tough to get money from parents and so on and so forth, unless you had good support. So how did you all manage that? So Uday, how did you manage it first of all when you started off, when you kicked off?
Well, fortunately, when I first joined the band, all I needed was a microphone. That said, I did. That said, I did invest in a not a PA, but like something for rehearsal, like a pair of speakers and a mixer and whatnot. Eventually, but for all of us within the band, we all uh, the we didn't invest things together as a band as far as our instruments were concerned. Instruments were all individual, but all the activities of the band. I mean, once we played a gig, in those days gigs paid nothing, but of course everything else, things
Right.
shops also cost much less. So we
Right.
take a few $100 home each and whatnot, and we keep a certain amount of money that we put into reserve for band-related activities. So that's how we used to do it. In terms of our own instruments, ourselves, and otherwise we reinvest money that we earned back into band activities, whether it was making letterheads or all kinds of shit. But in
Right.
terms, and I guess these Koco, I mean the Agni and Parikrama guys must have had something similar. At the time when we started out, you couldn't get instruments over here. You just couldn't get
Yeah.
instruments. So we would ask visiting relatives or whatever it is to bring stuff down.
Right.
Duties were insanely high. When we started to get the occasional Firan gigs, like the Middle East, like going to the Middle East, that's when ingenuity and innovation really came to the fore. We
Right.
figured that. So we had a manager, Russell, in Dubai, and we'd get Russell to buy us a couple of instruments and
Right.
send us the serial number.
Right.
The serial number we would then make a little serial number thing and put it on. We would put it on things like a box or like a there was custom sound Indian amps, Indian custom sound amps, and I remember, so we made this serial number plate, not a plate, like a sticker, and put it on that, and said that I think at that point we were trying to bring back an amp. Was it an amp? I think it was a keyboard for Subir. And called it DX21 or something of that sort. Yamaha DX21 with some logo with that serial
So
number.
you all were smugglers, like professional
Yeah.
smugglers.
Professional smugglers, but only for self-use. It's like growing cannabis, but never giving it to anybody else. It's only for yourself. So we used to smuggle shit like that, and because the serial number would be on the passport, including the title, whatever.
Yeah.
Kurzweil, something or the other, or Kobe, whatever it is.
We've all done that.
No, but there were no actually music shops like how we have like
No,
Furtado.
there was my first guitar I bought, which was the Ibanez 540S, which I still have. That
Right.
guitar was I bought it from Shalu Music in Bombay, in Malad,
Okay.
and
Shalu music came so late.
Yeah.
I'm talking about early 90s. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think I got my Ibanez somewhere in 90 or 91, and Rustam, our drummer, who owned the famous Kayani Bakery,
Right.
he was the only guy who had the money. So
Correct.
and I was in the process. I used to ride a Yamaha 350 at that time.
Right.
And I remember my mom told me, that if you really want to buy an expensive instrument, what is it that you can give up? So I said, I don't have anything to give up. So she said, are you sure? Just think again.
Your
So
bike.
then I
Your
thought,
bike.
my bike. So I said, so I sold my bike, the Yamaha 350, and I bought a 2,000 rupee Lambretta Cento from a Yamaha 350. I bought a 100cc Lambretta, and I rode that for 2 years. In the
Promotion.
interim, before the bike got sold, I didn't have the money. So Rustam said, listen, pay me whenever. Here's the money. Go and get. So Praveen Bell and me sat in an Asiad, went to Malad, picked up the guitar, and came back. That was my first pro instrument. And then later on, once I sold my bike, I gave Rustam the money, and that's how it all worked out. So
Wow.
there was always a helping hand somewhere or the other.
Always.
Yeah.
Yes. So true.
And 2 years with that guitar, and in 1993, I bought my first car cash down from the money I made from playing that guitar. So you can imagine. It was like
Lovely.
yeah.
We all had stories. In fact, us also, when we started 91, and suddenly, kids way back in 91, straight out of, I mean, I was the only one in my third year. Nitin, Chintan, everybody was in their first year. I mean, they just come out of school, and kids that time in school didn't have the kind of money that they have today. And
Correct.
straight away they came. I remember first show, everybody got $500 each. $500 each that time when we were
Wow.
given 50 paisa for the whole day to spend was like, giving a
Correct.
today's kid like a lakh of rupees suddenly. And that started happening
Yeah.
every 3 days. And somebody would go and get like 20 jeans. Somebody would get, XYZ. And I realized this is not going to work out. So after about 4, 5, 10 gigs, in 91 itself, what we did was that we said, okay, we'll make a thing. So we made a account with me, and I think it was Chintan and one more guy, signatory, something like that. Chintan's dad helped us with that. We started storing all money in that. Slowly and slowly, we said that we'll store our money, and to sound good, we will start investing in musical instruments. So that's how we first bought Sonam's first Korg A4 processor and got him
Wow.
the first Les Paul. That was from the
Wow.
band's money put together. I mean, and please understand, we were getting
Wow.
500,000, 2,000, 700. We did one show at FMS for 1,500. They're still over 750, and like that. So getting that $23,000 to buy Sonam's Les Paul way back then was like 10 shows, 15 shows. So it took us
That's
time,
a lot of
money.
slowly. But yeah, one by one, we did not only and total no. Everyone was allowed to take a loan from the band if they really need desperately, but nobody was given any money as what we decided, because we realized that we need to really get that instrument thing going. And that's how we got the Les Pauls and this and that, my Kurzweils, Drip Pearl drum kit, everything. So I think by 93, we did a deal with Swilly and Company in Singapore.
Right.
And luckily, most of the Parikrama kids were working in this company called BITV by 95 or something like that. And that time to telecast cable TV, they had to, one guy had to carry all the tapes to Singapore every week and carry the tapes back on a Sunday. So that really helped us, because we would do a deal with Swilly and he buy all the stuff, sell him the money, get the equipment back. And that's how
Wow.
we started doing. In fact, it was not only for that. We were probably the first band to actually spend a lot of money and build up an office. So we
Right.
bought the first computer that I told you that I'm still using on my desktop.
Wow.
The first
Wow.
computer, the first fax machine,
So
because
was it a 286 Pentium?
I know it was a 486. But
486. Not bad.
of course, I don't use a 486 now. But I'm still hooked onto I can still work on a desktop better than a laptop here.
I
So,
don't think
mean,
any of these guys listening right now will know what a 486 or a Pentium is.
They have no clue what we're talking. 286. 486.
Yeah. We bought the first. Sorry, we bought the first. We bought the first cell phone from Band Money way back in '97, a Nokia 1610 for 28,500. I still remember.
That was a hammer.
And
That was a hammer, like a hammer.
yeah, I still have it. The point
I
is that
still have
we invested a lot, since I was a playing member and a manager as well. So
Right.
we invested that because that would give me the speed to do a deal much more faster than call up those IIT Bombay and wait for 7 days for them to call back. They had a number to call back like that. So we bought a fax because it also gave us a speed, and people used to write letters. So that's how we converted a lot of college gigs much more faster.
Wow.
Wow.
That way.
No, I agree.
By the way, Nitin says it was a 286, not a 486.
Maybe a 286 or a 186, I don't know. But yeah, all I remember is
Don't
way
exaggerate.
back in 90,
Don't try and
95
Yeah,
or
get
something.
your facts right.
मैं तो बोल ही रहा था यार 286 था 486 था I don't remember.
Achha, we
Yeah,
have,
but
we
it's called-
finally have,
We have Gary here, so let Gary speak, man.
Gary,
Yeah. No,
think
that's okay. I'm
Gary's smiling.
enjoying this conversation.
I think it's
Yeah, before we lose you
I'm
again.
really enjoying this.
If Gary's smiling,
I
it means he can
came
hear
in
everything
about 5
clearly.
minutes ago.
So Gary,
it's kind of, I can follow.
Yeah. So Gary, basically, your
Yeah.
journey. How did you start off singing? Which year? And what got you into rock and roll music
God,
as
really.
well as jazz?
I think a rock and roller is born You know, really, from the time you're born, you kind of have an affinity for it. Seriously.
Right.
I mean, I remember
Yeah,
being
yeah,
drawn to
before we
Elvis and
leave you,
stuff like that when I was in school, when I was a kid.
Right.
You know, and severely so. I mean, very, very strongly so. It wasn't just a fleeting thing. It hit you like a ton of bricks, literally. So I
Right.
got into rock and roll right away. But that's not to say that I wasn't into jazz and Sinatra and stuff like that. You know.
Correct.
So I've been very lucky. I've had that complete. I've seen these guys at their peak, in a sense, which is I literally saw the rise of Presley
Right.
even as a kid. It was
Right.
so obvious, you know, this figure and stuff, and then the Beatles and the Stones, and you know,
Absolutely.
etc. etc. Yeah. So
Wow.
I mean,
So
if
which
you
was the
ask me
first?
when
So
did I
which
get
was,
into rock and roll, I think all
yeah.
of us have been into rock and roll from the time we are, you know, born. You know,
True.
Absolutely.
it's just
No,
an
but so
affinity you have. Yeah. Yeah.
which year was it? Was it 81? Was it 75? Which year?
If you're talking about professionally,
Professionally.
very honestly, I started kind of seriously singing in New York. You
Okay.
know,
Okay.
like before that, there were shows and all happening, and I'd be asked by all our common friends, you know, to come on stage and do something. And
Right.
I just never felt the need. The sound was so bad, the
Right.
infrastructure was so bad, you know.
Right. Right.
There was really nothing to prove. It was a
Right.
joke. So I
Right.
did start singing professionally, so to speak, in New York at
Okay.
showcase theaters, what they call showcase theaters, a couple of
Absolutely.
nightclubs and here and there, you know. So yeah, so that's how I really started. And then when I came back to India, don't
Right.
mean to take up too much of your time, but I literally got in by accident, because I went and sang a song in, you know, after the interval at a friend's show. And sitting in the crowd was this guy from HMV, and he called me the next day, and it suddenly just took off on its own.
Right.
You know, it
Absolutely.
really
No, I
did.
agree.
So yeah, and then
So
it
that
was
was
jingles and
so
shows
which
and
was the
this
year?
and that.
Which was the year you came to India?
Yeah.
Which year you
Oh
came to
God.
India?
Oh God. No.
I think Gary is.
Nah, again, you're breaking up. But I think you asked me what year. I
Yeah.
think
Which
it
year?
was around the 80s, mid 80s or little
Mid
early.
80s.
I really don't know.
Okay.
I really have lost track of time here. You know.
Right.
So yeah, it was around there. But when it
Wow.
started, it just went on its own, you know,
Right.
without me trying or anything like that. It
Right.
was really like a change of destiny straight away. I
Right.
joined the family business, which was sandalwood, you know, and yeah, and then literally overnight, everything started happening, and then Louis Banks called me to sing a jingle, and then it was the filmmakers that said, "No, we want Gary," and you know, it just
Right.
then. I think all these guys know what I'm saying because they've been through the same thing. Yeah. But
Wow.
my case
Wow.
literally
Wow.
happened without trying.
Right.
And part of the reason why I didn't do music even earlier was because I had a lot of resistance from my family. You know, it
Right.
just wasn't the done thing uh, in the RC family, very honestly. So there was a lot of resistance for me going out in public, and you know, it was
Right.
quite crazy.
Wow.
Yeah. But carry on with
Amazing.
these guys, Hari. It's
No,
really
no, no, no,
interesting.
no, no, Gary, Gary,
no,
Yeah.
some
that's the
No,
whole
Gary,
idea.
Yeah.
Gary,
No,
I
no,
have
the
to,
thing
I,
is, you
I
know,
have,
yeah.
I remember one,
Wow. Yeah.
the last time we met.
What?
Can you hear me, Gary?
Coco, I know you're
And
saying
we were,
something, but you're breaking up.
yeah, we were in Lavasa, and we
What?
came to your room. We were in Lavasa. We
Yeah.
were, in fact, Industries,
I
Agni,
can't
and
get
Gary
you.
Lawyer were playing at the same show there, if I'm not mistaken. And
Uh,
and I came to your room at two
no,
o'clock in the
Hari has
night.
gone back to the same thing.
Odd.
Okay, Gary can't hear us. I think he's got a problem again.
Okay.
I
No,
don't
it's a
know.
good thing Gary can't hear us, so that I can tell the
Hari,
story
send
the
me
way
a
it was.
transcription of this conversation. It looks like a lot of fun,
So,
but I'm not there.
so, so we got Gary back into my room, and I
Huh.
made him have a drink till 5 in the morning. And he kept telling me, "Man, Coco, I need to sleep, man. I can't do this."
that's one thing. If you get Coco into your room, you can't throw him out. वो क्या
No,
capacity है?
I went to Gary's room and I literally dragged him into my room, and that's it. After that, we didn't let him go. So that was the last time I partied with Gary.
That's
Oh
why
my
we
God.
call you
I
a
think-
joint robot here.
I think that's why he left the conversation.
He knew what was coming at him. Oh my God. Okay, guys.
Good.
No,
You know,
in fact,
another,
in fact,
another,
in fact, even with Benny, with Uday,
Hmm.
I remember the last jam where Uday and at Mohan's Terrace that went on till 6 in the morning. Do you remember?
I remember that.
And yeah, it was like all of us doing all kinds of, three-chord jams and just singing over. There are a lot of singers, and then Uday started singing his original stuff, and it was beautiful. And of course, Uday was getting too much female attention, which I was getting bothered by.
Is it ever too much?
Snigdha is listening. Snigdha is online, by the way. साले
Yeah.
हम तो बैचलर है, तू तो शादीशुदा है.
आप तो bachelor हो, absolutely.
दिख रहा है ना ये देख.
so guys, another very important thing, which was the peak year of gigs in your life, which you all remember, where you all were only running with suitcases from hotel to hotel instead of going home. So which was the year for you all where you all were doing back-to-back gigs, you all were just traveling left, right, center, ticketing through train, through plane, through road, all of that. So Coco, I'm sure you
See,
have a
for
lot
us,
of
for us, it was 92 to 95.
Right.
In those 3 years, I think we were clocking nearly 60, 70 shows in a year.
Wow.
And it of course the day of 15th May 95 when Jaggi and Mandy died, that was when the break
Yeah.
happened. But those
Yeah.
those 3 to 4 years, I think, when we released Wind Dance on Fire in 91, after that, we played one show as an opening band, and then suddenly we were called a headlining act. It happened overnight. It just there was no struggle per se with Agni. It was
Right.
always it was always treated as a headlining act. So, and we started gigging left, right, and center. I mean, it was crazy.
Right.
And
Right.
I think till 95. So 91 end or 92 to 95 is, I think, the best years of Agni, AG and I,
Okay.
for sure. Yeah.
Okay. What about you, Subir?
Oh yeah, we were lucky enough. I mean, again, as Coco said, so we started getting gigs from the first year itself. I mean, I remember first year itself, from September to March, we did almost about 40 gigs. Way back, in fact, I still remember we started on 15th of September. 91 was the first show in Father Agnel School, which we did a deal at $500, but we ended up getting $500 each because I really liked the show.
Right.
Thereon to the first outstation show I remember was the 40th show or something that happened on 18th of March, 1992. That was at REC Roorkee, which is now IIT Roorkee. And
Right.
within that period, we had risen our price from 500 rupees to 18,000. So I remember it very clearly that thing.
jump.
And yeah, I guess the same schedule kept on going for a very long time till the whole college scenario changed, and then it was only about 5-6 years ago that things started slowing down, and that's how I moved from that college circuit and started doing these other concept gigs. Coco has been a part of it many a times.
Parikrama and Friends.
Yeah, so Parikrama and Friends was a different concept. This we called things called Gods of Classic Rock, because if that went down, then we entered into the corporate sector. We had never played things like Family Days. I mean not Family Days, but like Camp Out, Bajaj top CEOs playing in Jodhpur, or we all Coco was not part of that particular gig, but I guess that was a huge conference for Maruti, 1,500 people, where we went with 5 guests, stuff like that. So we changed track. Instead of sitting at home and not doing anything, we started doing change things through those kind of things. Now what happened is that you cannot follow the same schedules that you were following for the first, let's say, 20 years of the band, 24, because that was
Absolutely.
mainly push was because of colleges,
Correct.
you know, and
I know that was a major push because college festivals
mm,
were the big thing for rock bands, and there were a lot of
yeah,
college
yeah,
bands being formed in colleges, and the competitions were
yeah,
happening, and you all were judging those bands, and so on and so forth.
yeah.
So there was a
And
lot to do
fortunately,
with colleges.
yeah, unfortunately now college rock shows don't happen all that much. You know,
Correct.
I mean, including the really good ones like even Mood Indigo and all that. Half the times they have rock days, half the time they don't have.
Right.
So same thing is with IT Delhi. Same thing is with a lot of otherwise, like 15, 20 years ago, till they used to have something called a rock night. That used to be rock band, and they used to have a popular night, which was a
Right.
Bollywood night. Now
Right.
everything is either Bollywood or your EDM or whatever that thing
Right.
that they do,
No, that's because now what's happened is that
Mm.
film stars have become rock stars,
Correct.
and they've all started. They are actually guys who are actors have started singing.
Mm.
So
Uh,
they've replaced the real
So where do the
musicians now.
musicians go? Where do the musicians go if the actors are going to start singing? That's the thing.
no,
No,
no. So
that's
I'll
why
tell you.
whenever people call me a rock star, I keep telling them, no, I'm not a rock star. I'm a rock musician. Rock star is a Shah Rukh Khan or a Salman Khan. They are rock stars. They are just rock musicians.
No,
No,
so
but what
basically,
also?
I think
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
also. I mean, I'll tell you what Parikrama was. I think we kind of lost out onto the ring because we didn't give the younger kids anything to listen to. We were not
Right.
releasing. We never released material. We always played it live. Our thing was always we hated the studio. We still do, most of us.
Right.
And
Right.
our funda was to make. We used to do our songs and keep playing them live. But
Right.
that worked for the first. I think now I'm not saying it didn't work because we are playing good amount of shows, but yeah, only the thing has changed uh, from college shows to these corporate things and stuff like that. But
Right.
yeah, if you would have recorded more material and started giving the kids much more non-stop songs throughout, probably things would have been different. But I'm not complaining. Whatever is there is there. But I mean, we're having good time. We're still doing good 50, 60, 65 gigs in a year, and which is pretty cool still. So we're having a great time here. And actually, Parikrama was never one of the first rules that Uday said they made rules. So we also made a huge amount of rules. And one of the main rules was that Parikrama will never be a earning source for anybody in the band. It will only be a hobby. So that is one thing that really helped us keeping things together, I guess, because it was made very clear that you have to have your uh, whatever you're doing as your bread and butter. Otherwise, it'll become very difficult, for
Right.
the band to survive. So that really helped us that way. So,
Right. Right. No, but also what happens is that with the number of shows which you all used to do before, and to
hmm
the number of shows that you're doing right now, so
hmm
there's a huge difference in the number of shows. It's naturally declined. I know that because
yeah, yeah.
rock scene right now is not as popular like how Bollywood is right now.
Mm.
Bollywood is more popular
Mm.
than rock. What do you have to say about
Bollywood
that?
was always popular, yeah. We never
Yeah.
see. We will only be hurting ourselves if we say that we want to compete with Bollywood. Why should we? There's no
Correct.
need to. They have their own market and people. Let them. We have our own market and people. Fine. End of
Correct.
story. I never calculate or compare. I don't think so. Anybody here really compares. Anybody, all of them, the gentlemen on the scene, everyone has their own following, own markets, everything. Why should we compare it to, or even think about Bollywood? I mean, it's
Right.
not my scene at all, or the band scene
Absolutely.
as such.
Absolutely.
So we can't say that the shows declined because of Bollywood. Yeah, I would say that colleges, as I just told you, colleges for
College
Parikrama
gigs.
declined because of us only. If we would have given them 12 songs, 8 songs a year, and one of
Right.
them would have been a hit, we would have been still probably being one of the few bands who still do college gigs. But we
Right.
lost on to college gigs because of our own faults, not because of Bollywood.
Right. But also what happens, Uday? What do you have to say about the new trend which is happening right now, with the change of music? Because rock is no longer popular with the.
Oh, we lost Hari.
बोले हरिया चलो भाई पार्टी कर रहे हैं, चलो चलो
Yeah.
खोलो बोतले निकालो निकालो
He'll come back. He'll
हाँ?
come back. There he is.
Okay.
There he is. There he is.
the network was down.
No, he's correct. I mean, Hari is correct because Rock is
सूत्रधार
not
चला
what it
गया
was.
यार
Yeah.
सूत्रधार चला गया वापस आ गया
So guys, sorry Uday. So basically, I'm talking about how rock has declined and how Bollywood has increased in its popularity, and people are moving more towards Bollywood more than rock. So what trend are you seeing right now?
Well, I'll first go to what Subir was saying, which is absolutely true. We've never looked at Bollywood as something that we compete with because there's no point, there's no chance. Bollywood is India's mainstream form of pop music. Rock music, and certainly rock music in the English language, will always be marginalized, and it's okay. In a country of 1 billion plus people, even if a small fraction is still a large number, you can still get by. And all of us, I think all of us are examples of how we managed to survive within those small fractions, which are large numbers, are reasonable, numbers to respect. I think what happened was when the college festivals started, again, this is what Subir was saying earlier, is absolutely right. When college festivals started to basically prioritize Bollywood night, and everything became Bollywood, something or the other Bollywood, in lieu of what was once rock night, that became a big dropout for all of us. Absolutely. So what happened? And the thing about Bollywood also is Bollywood in the college festival scene is not necessarily the big Bollywood acts, because the colleges that have money, the IITs and whatnot, will put money out to get guys like Vishal Shekhar or Shankar Ehsaan Loy, the biggies. Rahman. But what is happening is the smaller colleges also want Bollywood. So there's a large number of playback singers who probably have 1 or 2 recognizable songs from some movie. And what they do is they cobble together a band, and because of those recognizable songs, they get booked.
Right.
But what they do is they've only really got 2 songs to their credit, really, as far as popularity is concerned, and they fill up the rest of their set with Bollywood covers. Now, here's the thing. Whether rockers like it or don't like it, whether rock musicians are happy or not happy about it, this is just how it is. And when people's taste, and this is what the college kids want, and if that's what they want, if what's on your playlist right now is this form of music, then it's entirely within your right to program that kind of music. But that said, it's always a cycle. Everything is cyclical. It's not that rock and roll music has died. It's at a low point right now. It's all ebb and flow. Something else is flowing, and this is ebb. It's a matter of time. Maybe we'll still be alive. Maybe we'll be dead when the cycle starts to move back into its other crests and troughs.
Right.
Yeah, and also what's happened is, if you've seen what Bollywood acts are sounding like today, if you listen to a Suniti Chauhan band, it's a rock band. If you listen to Amit Trivedi's band, it's a rock band.
You look at Farhan Akhtar,
kind of arrangement. Farhan Akhtar, any of these big acts, Vishal Shekhar, all these guys, these guys are actually, they've brought in the entire sound of rock, where it isn't in the times of Kalyanji Shah, Anandji Shah, where there's string section and Indian percussion happening at the back. No, right now it's slamming. Even the Bollywood acts are actually sounding like rock acts, and their live versions of what they're playing is actually rock. And now what also helps them is that 3-4 crores of pumping that music on all the channels, so that song becomes familiar. So now how the arrangements are, who are the guys who are playing in Bollywood acts today? They're all these guys like Rushad Mistry and all these these are all rockers who are actually Jai Rao Kavi and all these guys, Warren Mendonca. These are the guys who comprise of the sound of rock in India, and they are also the same guys who are playing Bollywood shows today on stage. So the sound is for a listener today, it's familiar, popular music which is being played in the rock genre. And I don't think rock is dead, because that is a sound which every Bollywood guy is using. You hear an overdriven guitar in almost every single Bollywood song.
Yes, absolutely.
Today. And it is the same addictive drums which is being programmed, and it's the same rodent patches. It's all the same. It's the same sound that the guys have been using. Bollywood guys have embraced it, and I think they've called it their own now. So that's how it is, right?
But Subir, when you got in the element of tabla and violin, into the band, What made you take that step?
Nobody, as I clearly told you, it was the Conversation album by L. Subramaniam that I heard, and I
Right.
just wanted to have that. That's why, from our first show onwards, only we had a violin player. So I mean, so from rehearsal only. I mean, when we started doing, thinking of the band, and I'm talking about 90s, early 1990, mid 1990. That time only we started auditioning violin players, and from the first show onwards only we had a violin player, and he only got in the tabla player because Sharad Chandra Shrivastava was very
Right.
traditional in his approach. He had never played. He said, "I will not play a violin which has got a wire hanging. I will
Right.
only use a mic, and I will only wear kurta pajama." And so people were just coming out. I mean, Rock Machine Industries used Pretty Child is the biggest example of how
Yes.
beautifully
Yes.
Indian instruments are used as well. And
Yes.
that's it, yeah. I mean, it started with Sharad playing violin, and that he only got that time a guy called Gyan into
But that happened in
the band
IIT. I thought you played that in IIT Delhi for the first time, right?
with the tabla player.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think we must have played it before as well. I don't remember exactly which show
Okay.
we used the tabla as such. But yeah, see, the point was experimentation. We used that.
Correct.
We used clarinets. We used sitar on Stone songs. We
Yes.
did a lot of different instruments
Instruments.
and to check it up. So that's it. We used female singers. In fact,
Correct.
I was seeing the post of a very famous Bombay singer. I'm sure Uday, all of you will know it, Mahalakshmi. And I remember for 1996 or 97, I called her up and I said, "Listen, we're doing this Independence Rock, and I want you to come and sing Pink Floyd Great Gig in the Sky with us." And she said,
Right.
"No, no, no, I don't do that kind of stuff." So, the point is, we used to call 5 people, and getting people to agree way back in early 90s was a little tough.
Very difficult. Yeah.
They didn't want to really experiment that much, and so 5 phone karte the, ek jana मान जाता था. So we used to try that thing. In the end, we kept whatever worked for us. So that's why violin is in fact, in the newer setup that Coco also plays at times, that setup has got sitar, Indian bamboo flute, violin, everything. But then it is used in a very different way than traditional
Right.
classical instruments.
Right.
So
Uday, when you all have played with the typical band, have you all tried experimenting to a different level altogether by changing the music with instruments?
How do you mean all together? Like, Hari has left us again?
You met him with a question and he got stumped.
carry on, Uday, because people are listening. You carry on.
Yeah, carry on.
Yeah,
Carry on.
Well, I will have a
Every
question.
time-
I will understand
Every
the
time Hari
question.
goes, I'll take over.
Yeah, Uday. Sorry.
You mean like a completely radical change in sound?
Yeah, radical change in sound. I'm talking.
Well, we didn't want to radically change. For me, the change happened really when Jayesh and I started Arms for Shanti. That was the radical change in sound for us.
That was a
But
big change. Yes.
for us, the radical change already happened with changing the name of the band from Rock Machine to Industry, which
Right.
also was intended to be a directional shift musically. But we
Right.
wanted it to be, we wanted to segue. We didn't want to throw off everything and reinvent ourselves entirely anew. The fact
Right.
is, we were taking who we were. We were evolving people. I don't mean necessarily mean evolving musicians. We were evolving, as we all do, evolving as musicians, and we were evolving as human beings as well. Very much, very, very importantly so. And so the shift was to make a smoother movement into we are incorporating these things into our sound, and we'll jack up these elements of our sound, and we'll tone down those elements of our sound. So I mean, that's how it was. The change happened when Jayesh and I put Arms for Shanti.
Right. So talking to you, Coco, you'll have traveled a lot. You're doing a lot of Bollywood stuff right now, right? With Mohan. So how?
Mohan actually sings a lot of Bollywood.
That's right. So with
He's
Mohan,
done nearly 50 odd songs, and some of them have been big hits.
Right.
But he's when we try to incorporate Bollywood his songs which he has sung, we've been met with a kind of a surprise by the audience. Then, of course, over a period of time, when we started doing them regularly, that's when people recognized. But what has happened is, over a period of time, we have decided that we're going to keep the Bollywood persona of Mohan as a lead singer separate from Agni, because 90% of the crowd which comes to watch an Agni concert does not know that Mohan has sung Shikayate or Yariyan or any of these big songs. They don't know. So they think that he's just doing a cover.
Right.
But so that's why we've decided now we're going to have a separate act called Mohan Live, which is going to be a Bollywood act, and Agni, where only Agni songs will be played.
So when you're comparing between Mohan being with y'all and Mohan not being with y'all, so y'all call yourselves Agni when Mohan is not with y'all, right?
No. We call ourselves Agni with Mohan. It's Mohan and me being the composing duo of Agni.
Right.
And the new act, which is yet to be launched, which is going to be Mohan Live, that is going to be a separate act, which is going to do purely Bollywood.
Right.
He's going to sing all the songs that he has sung only. He is not going to be doing covers within that band as either. He's going to only do. He's sung more than 50 songs.
So from your rock background, okay, which you all have performed for with so many of the bands members coming together, you all are performing rock shows and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
फिर गया उदय भी गया, उदय को सुसु आई.
Yeah. So we are waiting for.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. So,
Go on.
Yeah. So with the rock shows which you have done, and now when you're getting into Bollywood music, do you feel there's a big change?
No, in terms of, see, that's what I said, no? Because when it comes to even arranging a Bollywood act, it typically has, of course, Mohan Live has more number of musicians in it, and I'm going to be featuring maybe one or two songs in that act. But the entire arrangements are again band oriented, because you're not going to carry an entire Indian section. Even the arrangements of the modern day Bollywood music is pretty much rock and pop oriented. It still has the sound of drums, bass guitar, keyboards, all of that. So the recreation of that kind of music also today. So there's a very very small difference between the two sounds today, as we see it. Earlier it was when Bollywood music was like Kishore Kumar and Lata Mangeshkar, and these were the kind of I'm just naming the singers so that you understand the difference between the sound of Bollywood was so different then versus what we were doing at that particular time. So that's now that change is very, very marginal.
Right.
So when it comes to actually, it's the audiences which are different.
Right.
So somebody asked me that without any kind of marketing and huge spends on videos and stuff like that, how do you still get as many as 5 and 10,000 people coming for your shows? The audiences who actually listen to our kind of music, they fetch us out. They look for our music on the internet, and that's how they know our music.
Right.
As against what Bollywood is, it's in your face. It's on your television screen. Every day you'll hear that song. So that's marketing driven as well. Whereas we guys, we are not marketing driven. It's the kind of audience that actually wants to listen to something other than Bollywood. They are the ones who are fetching us out, and that's how they know our songs. That's the really big difference between the two right now.
Uday,
and of course, and the paycheck is much smaller as against the Bollywood act.
So Uday and Subir, even with are y'all getting into the Bollywood scene in some way or the other?
No. Enough.
You'll be surprised. Uday has sung a very famous Bollywood song.
Gary is also here. Gary, are you going to be getting?
Gary's not here.
Gary followed Uday to the susu break.
I think so. Probably.
So Hari, not as a band, individually, anyone wants to do, they're most welcome.
Right.
People are doing as well, but मैं तो कभी नहीं भाई, मेरे बस का नहीं है, मैं नहीं कर सकता.
Right.
I,
So,
on
Gary-
the other hand, I'm a certified whore.
Right.
You give me money, I'll sing. But the thing is,
No.
but the truth of the matter, no, I'm just saying, but the truth of the matter is,
Right.
one aspect of me that I have learned over the years is if my heart isn't in it, then
Right.
it won't come to me.
Absolutely.
It won't come
I
to
agree.
me. And my heart is not in Bollywood. I have no problem with Bollywood. I have no issue. I won't look down on Bollywood musicians like a lot of musicians do and stuff. That's a whole scene. Bollywood music, Bollywood films, it's its own universe. I live in a parallel universe by and large. I live not even a parallel universe. I live in a fucking little bubble. It's like a soap bubble. Like the tip of a soap bubble. That's me.
Right.
Now but I did have sung one Bollywood song, yes, and that was for Shankar S. and Loy. Shortly after I moved back from New York, Bombay. So that would have been probably 2009, 2010, sometime around then.
Okay.
And the thing is, Shankar, Ehsan and Loy, I've known individually before they became SEL. We've all known them. We've worked with them. We've played with them. We've hung out with them. We know everything with them for many, many years. So for me, it was getting a call from old buddies. And it was literally walking down the road. I live in Bandra. They were recording at Purple Ace Studios in Bandra. So I walked down the road. And I knew the moment I got the call from them, I knew that they are not going to call me in on a song that is not suited to my voice or my style. Something that would be where I would be a misfit in their music. I know that because we've all known each other so well. So they brought me in on a song which I love. It's a great song. It's a really nice, fresh, easy listening, happy, but fun track called Life is Crazy from Wake Up Sid. And the moment I heard the song, I was like, okay, fine, this is going to be fun. I'm back in Purple Haze and I'm with my pals and I'm singing the song. It just happens to be in Hindi and happens to be for a movie. But that was about it.
Right.
Since then,
Exactly.
So I never pushed for it. I never pushed to get the work. And I have since not pushed to get the work. And since I have not got any Bollywood work, which is also okay. If somebody calls me to do a Bollywood song, I'll go in and do it. But
so in fact, we have to... Yeah, I have the similar thing as I told you that people in the band. In fact, Sonam and Nitin did a movie as well called Manjunath. I mean, we termed it as Sonam, Nitin and Subir, but basically I was there only for the marketing part. That was very clear. So I was helping them do the thing. And the point is, what happens is, I mean, for me personally, I don't really want to sit down and make music for. But Bollywood as such is also evolved quite a bit. I mean, today a lot of OTT platforms, like I just saw this movie in which my friend Taj gave the music for a film based in the Northeast, and it was absolutely nothing to do with Bollywood in that film as such. So I mean, for me also, I'm not really against. I have so many friends in Bollywood. I market so many bands that do Bollywood because that is where I make my living. But personally, for me to be a thing to make and compose music for Bollywood is that as Parikrama that we can't do. I was saying that only as a band. Okay, maybe tomorrow we end up getting a movie like for an OTT platform that is really not Bollywood or something like that. We might still consider. But again, no qualms at all for whoever like Uday is doing or Koco is doing or Mohan is doing. I have so many hundreds and millions of friends who are doing stuff in Bollywood, and a lot of them are doing great stuff. So it's fine.
I think the point in any case is that there's nothing wrong with any genre, medium, whatever it is. As long as the point is, if it's a Bollywood film or a Tollywood film or a freaking Mollywood film or whatever the fuck they call these things these days, as long as there is an alignment, there is no misalignment, and there is a clear alignment between what we can offer as musicians for that particular project, that seamlessness needs to be there. That agreement needs to be there. There's no point calling a band to create music like Lakshmi. No point calling Parikrama to do a Lakshmikant Pyarelal soundtrack.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. That will be wild if they do it.
Well, the thing is, if you do it, the thing is, if you do it with the intent of doing it that way, it can work great. But if you do it out of ignorance and say, we need a band, hey, Parikrama bahut acha hai, super full power band and whatnot, and then give you some whatever. I don't want to name any songs because I don't know which of my friends has
Yeah.
composed it, so I'll just sit and then I'll get shit later. But
Yeah.
they call you to do some crappy Bollywood track that is not suited to your style and ability, then what's the
Right.
point?
Exactly.
What's the
Exactly.
point, right?
But tell me one more thing, are y'all doing something on charity? Where are y'all tied up with an NGO where there is some parts of the proceedings which go to a particular NGO that y'all follow? Do y'all do that? Is that something which is a thing that y'all follow? Each one of y'all?
See, we
Yeah.
did something for around 3 or 4 years consistently for Dharavi Rocks.
Right.
That was basically a charity which was very close to Mohan's heart.
Right.
And in fact, I dragged my feet quite a lot on that. I was just part of the performances bit, but he
Right.
actually went and he taught the kids music and stuff like that. And also, I'm from Pune, so for me to follow that wasn't that
Right.
easy. But yeah, and whenever there have been a situation where we've been called for a show and they
Right.
say it's for charity, we typically tell the organizers, you pay us a full fee, then we'll decide how much of that fee we want to donate back to the
Right.
charity.
Right.
So that's something that we've always maintained, and we
Right.
have actually
Mm.
done it. We've even sometimes donated 100% of our fee back to the charity,
Right.
but it has gone back through the Agni account. It has not gone directly from
From
the
the
organizer's
organizers.
account.
Yeah. Yeah. Got
Yeah.
it.
So we've been. I mean, these kind of things. He was an ex-banker, so he knows how to handle all
And
these kind of things.
Mm.
Yeah, he's got that corporate thing in him, so he handles this very well. But yeah,
right.
Mhm.
in terms of charity, there's also one more situation which happens with musicians is that people don't really typically value your time.
Right.
So,
Right.
and if they say that since you're not doing anything, why don't you come and do this or judge a competition or you come and
Right.
do
Right.
something. So every musician's time is actually should be valued.
Right.
So nearly around 10 years ago, when I stopped going and judging competitions
Right.
because I started asking for money for that.
Correct.
If you
Mhm.
want to call me for my time, you
Right.
should pay me for it. So
Absolutely.
the minute I started asking money for judging
Yeah.
competitions, I stopped
Yeah.
getting invited for these. so,
Correct.
so
Correct.
but
I agree.
yeah, it's that thing about there's certain things which I feel very strongly about. I don't want to say these things
Right. Right.
Mm.
too clearly out here, but there are certain things which I believe very strongly about such things, and I just stick to that. That's it. I
Right.
mean, I
What
don't
about
propagate
what
it.
about yeah? What about you, Subir?
Yeah, Hari, we keep doing. In fact, we've been doing not from now, it's from 91. But then
Yeah.
normally, the point is normally we don't really speak too much about it. So the
Right.
point is, yeah, just because we do it. That's it.
Yeah.
Because we do and try and
Yeah.
do wherever
Wherever
possibly
possible.
we can.
Amazing. Amazing. And about
Mm.
you there?
Mm.
Well, over the years, we haven't specifically tied up with any one particular NGO. But
Right.
over the
Mm.
years, I mean, it's been decades, man. Over the years, there have been plenty of concerts,
So many, yeah.
a reasonable number of gigs that have been free gigs that we've done and stuff. I think
Right.
the Agni model is probably a smarter model. I should have met Mohan like 20 years ago and used that instead. But the thing is, we were very careful to. What we would do is we would vet the charity. If the
Right.
charity had, there's an uncle of mine
Right.
Mhm.
who lives in Bangalore, who is a corporate guy who then retired from
Right.
corporate life many years ago and
Right.
started up a cancer hospice and stuff. So he was quite well versed with NGOs and charities across the country. So I
Right.
would call him and ask him when we got an offer, when we got a request to do a free gig.
Right.
I would sort of bounce the charity off him and say, how good is this charity? Now,
Right.
what a lot of people don't seem to know is that when you do things like fundraising and charitable, there are lots of NGOs that
Right.
suck up a lot of money in what's called administrative costs. And
Correct.
he told me this. He's saying administrative costs very often will suck a huge percentage of what's happening. He's saying there should be a certain
Mhm.
maximum administrative cost element to it, beyond
Right.
which, if it's any higher than that, you know that these guys are sucking off. Are basically either they're wasting money or they're
Yeah.
taking the money away for themselves. So we would do
Absolutely.
things
Mhm.
like that. And I mean,
Right.
over the years, but any one specific charity, no. over a period of time. And the truth of the matter is, man, Hari, here's the deal. As much as we would love to do this and in full agreement with what Koco said, it is our time. It is our livelihood. And,
Absolutely.
And an indie musician has far fewer resources and far fewer positions of luxury to be or privilege to be able to say, I can give up so much money for such a period of time.
Right.
Because every gig is basically contributing to your rent and your food and this, that, and the other, and your profession. So it's a tough balance too. It's very, very difficult to make that balance between earning your money and supporting charitable things as much as we want to.
Right.
But the reality is we need money to live as well.
Correct. Absolutely. Well said, Uday. Now, very, very important, another important fact which has come in is right now with the COVID scenario right now, everybody is working from home. It's a scenario where everybody's trying their level best to be doing some online live activity like playing guitar, singing a song. DJs are trying to play, but there are copyright issues happening and they're getting shut down by Facebook or Instagram because the music copyrights are not there and so on and so forth. So how are y'all planning, or how are y'all looking at these 6 months till December?
Oh, I think it's going to be longer.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry.
Subir, you take.
अरे बोलना मेरा भाई.
Okay. See, the thing is, my problem is I can see myself first right after Hari. So I'm sort of following that visual thing that I answer first, then Uday, then Gary, then you. I don't know why.
Follow the parikrama ko follow karo.
See, I think any kind of situation like a pandemic coming and hitting the world, there's going to be a new order. This entire thing about when the internet hit and when this sale of CDs stopped and suddenly musicians weren't making any money and there was Napster and all of that and everything was getting pirated. Now and then of course the streaming services started. That's how musicians started making money again. Now there's going to be a new order. It's a matter of time. Even Facebook is coming up with some new products, and all these streaming platforms are coming up with new products. In the meantime, my thought is that don't put yourself out there to do things free of cost and stuff like that. What I am doing is I'm just creating a lot of content. I've already recorded around 4 tracks on a solo project that I'm working on. We've recorded 3 songs of Agni. 1 video is ready. We're going to release it next month. And we're going to keep releasing music in this period when shows are not happening.
Right.
And flood the market or flood the internet with our content. And when the new order of shows happen where you get paid for what you do.
Correct.
That is when we will start doing things. As a band, as Agni, we do not do anything free of cost.
Right.
Nothing. We don't even sneeze free of cost. So that's something that we've always maintained and we want to maintain.
Yeah, absolutely.
And for us bands who are counted as the big bands in this country, it is our responsibility not to sell ourselves short. Because if we do that, what are the young bands going to get paid? They won't get paid anything.
Correct.
So I mean that's something that I want to appeal to all the big names or the well-known names within the industry, that don't just sell yourself short and go out there and play for free or just entertain people for free on the internet just because you're under lockdown. Don't do that. Flood the market with your content, put it out there, put it on streaming platforms which are going to get monetized. And then when it's time, when the new order of business takes some kind of form, whether it's internet shows where people buy tickets and watch a show on the internet, that's when you start performing. That's what I want to do. That's a wish list. I don't know how much of it will actually happen, but that's what I'm wishing for.
Right.
But I've noticed one thing, Koco. All these, ticketed shows that you're talking about, na Koco. Abhi ke date mein to yaar, majority of them are not selling any ticket because you end up asking $300-400 to do an unplugged concert with 2 people sitting, whereas they go to the
Yeah, but the
the
production has
YouTube.
to be done well. I mean, don't put out
Exactly.
products which are not well produced and stuff. Put in your work, do
No, no, no,
whatever
no.
it needs to make the product worthy of being heard or people wanting to. Don't make.
No.
I mean, there's one more thing which I hate when people say, support us.
Hmm.
Musicians and bands are not a charity. Yeah. We are not a
Hmm.
charity case. I mean,
Hmm.
let's play the field. Yeah, let's put out music which is good enough to be heard where people want to buy it.
Hmm.
Let's put that onus onto ourselves. Let's make good enough music that people will want to pay whatever that amount is, a $2 ticket or a $5 ticket or a $10 ticket or whatever it is,
Hmm.
300
Hmm.
rupee ticket.
Right.
Put that onus onto yourself. Don't say that, Arey, I'm sitting at home, so I can't do anything, so I'm going to do this and this.
Hmm.
Coming on stage and saying that, sorry guys, we didn't rehearse and we are going to play anyways, and please support us and please buy our CDs. I hate that begging bowl
No, no,
situation,
no.
you know.
Coco, you were saying about the ticketed shows. I was just updating
Yeah,
you about
yeah,
the ticketed shows or what I have experienced over the past 30, 40, 50 days,
yeah.
except very few ones that mostly which have got foreign audiences or a few ones. I
Hmm.
mean, if you look at the thing, probably under 0.001% of the shows have been successful where tickets have sold. Otherwise, tickets
Right.
don't
Sure.
sell because they have so
Yeah.
many options of seeing your better produced shows on YouTube and stuff like that.
Hmm.
But see, I'll tell you
Correct.
what I did with my company. What we did was because as early as March, we started doing it on a few portals, initially free, of course, for a lot of my
Hmm.
other bands, younger bands and stuff like
Okay.
that. But what
Okay.
happened is by getting noticed there, we ended up making good amount of revenue in the lockdown. Let's say an artist like Jasleen Olak, who is a
Uh,
solo artist, folk artist from there, ended up doing 4 corporate shows paid and
okay.
about 2 or 3 other corporate shows on portals like Zoom TV, Facebook
Right.
page, and all paid. So the point
There
is
you go.
there are
That's the new
different.
order I'm talking about. That's the new order I'm
Hmm,
talking about. So that is
hmm,
what we need to work on, rather than,
hmm,
what was happening during the lockdown. There's like people coming out and just, people coming and, shredding on the guitar and they think, who wants to
hmm.
watch your Riyaz, yaar? I don't want
Correct.
to
No.
listen to your practice. You know,
Hmm,
put out a full, well-produced song on the internet. Then whether you want to
hmm,
put it out free of cost or not, that's your prerogative.
Absolutely.
But don't show me
hmm,
a Riyaz. Don't show me how
hmm,
fast I can play the guitar or I'm singing without any music backing. I'm just going to
hmm,
sing a song.
Right.
It's
hmm.
so underwhelming and so boring. Yeah. Put out good
Chalo,
stuff. You're a good
hmm.
musician. Put out good stuff. That's what I'm saying. I think I
ठीक है यार.
digressed from the topic and from the question.
The question of
I,
No
I
problem.
answered what I want to answer without even,
No
you
problem.
know,
Uday,
Uday,
what,
Uday hasn't
Uday,
spoken.
yeah, Uday, what do you think, Uday?
Well, I would echo what Coco and Subir are both saying. The
Right.
thing is, yeah, I mean, we haven't done anything online as yet. I'm not going to do anything for free.
Right.
I have done a couple of guest things with a really, really good friend of mine who's a Peruvian guy. Said, come and do
Right.
one song. And I went out
Right.
to his show for one song. But in terms of a concert or anything, no question about it. I'm not doing it for free.
Right.
See, the point remains over here.
Right.
We are
Right, because-
professionals. And we are
Yeah.
when I say we're professionals, I'm not saying this in the sense of oh man, see how great we are. We are
Right.
professionals. We have spent
Right.
our entire lives working to up our game so that people feel that we are of value to be
Absolutely.
giving money to be give payment to. Why should that change now?
Correct.
Also, what's happening is with the New World Order, as Coco rightly put it, it's a new scenario that's emerging. It is still emerging. Nobody knows where the fuck we're going right now. We're only
Right.
3 months or 4 months into lockdown, and there's a long way to go.
Right.
This is the time for us to get our act together. Hopefully, things will open up and we'll sort of get stuff on our backs and hit the road and start to travel again. But when that's going to happen, no one has any idea. Look what's happening right now. There's an explosion of cases everywhere in the world.
Right.
So the thing is, in the meantime, we've got to get our shit together so that when we do play our concerts on the internet, paid concerts, which by then hopefully people will be ready to pay a certain amount of money, we
That's
rally
right.
our fan base together to pay a ticketed event. But we
Right.
do it so that even what they see in this little concert, this online concert, still separates us from, with all due respect to the YouTube bedroom singer, but we
Yeah.
have to have a difference that that separates us from them.
Absolutely.
How we
Absolutely.
sound, how we perform, how we look, everything that we deliver.
Yes.
Just because people have got used to seeing someone sitting in their living room or their bedroom and doing their version of a Bollywood song, or their version of a jazz song, or their version of some rock and roll track, whatever it is.
Right. Right.
That's all good. There's nothing wrong with that, and more power to all of those YouTube stars.
Right.
But we are not in that world. We are
Absolutely.
different from that world. So when we play, you've got to stand out. Otherwise, don't play.
Correct.
That's the
Aye.
attitude we have.
Aye.
But but Uday, you're also doing something right now where you're teaching something, right? You started something where people can learn, isn't it?
फिर क्या?
Yeah, so the thing is, I'm doing this course. I mean, I set up and devised this course for
Right.
School of Music.
Right.
So I'm not a technical guy. I'm not even a technical guy. So
Right.
technical course is beyond me. So this is it for me. I see this more, even though it's called course and everything else. I
Right.
just see it as a bunch of interactive sessions with people who are really interested in becoming performing musicians. When I say
Right.
becoming performing musicians, wherever you perform.
Right.
But when you are ready to take your songs and get out onto the road or get up on the stage or get up online to play your
Right.
stuff, there are so many things that you need to have at your command, really, in
Right.
terms of putting it out there, being professional, sounding professional, whether it's getting your riders together, whether it's getting every aspect, getting your connections made with people in the industry.
Right.
Very importantly, very
Right.
importantly, what you need to do in this current emerging scenario,
Right.
where everything is changing in this new world and with this new online situation,
Right.
how with live streaming performances now becoming the new form,
Right.
how are you going to set yourself up? So it's more like a guiding lights series
Right.
of interactions with the people who want to be professional musicians, performing
Absolutely.
musicians.
Absolutely.
So it's interesting. I go into esoteric territory and whatnot. I'm going into truth and love and all that bullshit, but it makes sense according to me at least.
Right.
I told
I
them,
agree.
I said,
I agree.
because truth and the reason why we are here and doing and why we remained and done all this for so long is because
Right.
of truth and love. We've
Absolutely.
all answered the truth within ourselves as this is the shit that we want to do, and we are doing what the fuck we love doing. We always have been.
Yeah.
One
Aye,
very
aye.
another question.
अरे
you know,
अभी बस करते भाई कितना बात
Last-
करेगा
Correct,
one last
correct.
question. This was the last question actually, because we are
तेरे
reaching
बादशाह ने
one more-
हमारी सिग्नल की रेड मार दी है वो कनेक्ट ही नहीं हो रहा है यार
The question is, we all have our own vices, and we have, continued with our vices till now. So, is there one vice that you have left and not done? You want to just say it out in the open?
रजनीगंधा
What's that?
रजनीगंधा पान मसाला
Rajnikanta Pan Masala. Oh, wow. What about you, Uday?
I thought he said, pardon my Bhojpuri, but I thought he said Randi something first. So I was like, wow, this is good.
मारे
I
तले
said, Subir is like fully out there.
every IROC
So, what
See, with
about you?
me, I'll tell you something very honestly. I've never done any form of drugs. I mean, not even
Same here.
marijuana, not cannabis, nothing. I've always been whiskey and cigarettes.
Right.
And, the only thing I can't resist is temptation. So,
Right.
these are the two things which, I should be
Continue.
quitting smoking, but I just don't have that kind of
You
perseverance
just,
or that
Coco,
willpower.
Coco, just to let you know, you just smoked half a cigarette packet right now in this show in 1.5 hours.
You were counting, weren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I know.
Because that was my last question. What about you then?
Well, the thing is, I've always been a guy who says do everything but in moderation. So I've never really gone
Right.
to that vice space where it's been out of control for me. So,
Goodbye. Basically, the good boy among all these boys. Okay.
Well, the thing is, but the thing is, they don't smoke marijuana, but I do. I just
Yeah.
don't smoke too much of it.
Yes, that's right. So great, fantastic, guys.
And I
think
eat all
beautiful-
God's creatures, but I don't overdo it.
that's great
I do it all, man.
Uday, I need to hang out with you.
No, but
Either
thanks,
I'll turn
guys.
into a
It's been
good
a
boy,
beautiful
or I'm
90
going to
minutes.
make you into a bad
Thank you
boy.
for this beautiful time. I know we couldn't get Gary on because Gary was coming on and off. He was just listening as a as a spectator.
Sure.
But beautiful time. Lovely talking to you.
Great time.
Hats off to all of you all once again for what you all are doing, and you all are following your passion so diligently. And you all are
Thank you.
actually working on music, which actually heals a lot of people in so many ways. And that is, you all are, I call yourselves as the doctors of music industry. So thank you once again, guys. And
और बढ़ाई कर 10,000 रुपए और बढ़ाई कर और बोल भाई चलो great time Koco, Uday, Gary. I'll message Gary.
Thank you everyone. Thank you.
Thanks, Hari.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And
Okay, guys.
Everyone who was on and sending your messages, I've been reading them in the corner.
Right.
I think
Yeah.
the most prolific contributor, of course, has been Nitin.
Oh, I'll check that.
Yeah, but everyone who wrote in, thank you very much. Thanks for tuning in, and hey, Ari, thanks for putting it all together. And
Yes,
Koco
thank you
and
very
Subir,
much.
always good to see you guys, man.
Lovely.
Thanks,
See you, everybody.
Okay.
Take care,
Okay,
guys.
bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
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 See you guys. Bye.
Bye. So, guys, that was the 90-minute lovely session with the rock stars of India, who actually brought in rock into the youth of India, and it runs in my blood like how it runs into the many youth of today. So that's it for today till we get on to another chat some other time till it's announced. Thank you for joining us at Catch Us Live, Rock of Ages with the boys, Subir, Koco, Uday, and Gary. Thank you, guys.